there, YouTube, and welcome back to the Slop channel. Who's ready for some real-time strategy content? That's right, nobody, because there's literally only one person other than myself on the planet who still enjoys real-time strategy games, and there's only one guess for who that might be. That's right, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Reggie. Reggie has come out with a new video on his theming of real-time strategy stuff, which he seems so prolific to, and we're going to be doubling down and enjoying it, because Reggie is my level of tiption, and I know he is yours too. So whether that makes me feel very self-aware to the fact that I'm literally probably one of the only people on the planet who knows what a real-time strategy is, because I'm freaking old, or whether we get by that fact with just enjoying memes, is up for your debate. So let's enjoy ourselves some sweet, sick, slick content. Now, I know real-time strategies aren't everybody's cup of tea. In fact, I'm 90% sure maybe only one person in my entire subscription list even knows what a real-time strategy is. But for those who aren't aware, I used to play StarCraft 2 professionally. And it's one of those things that I have a deep-seated appreciation for. I also have a deep-seated appreciation for brain rot. And Reggie combines both of those things, at least when he's not doing videos on really obscure, niche, microcosm games that make you hunt down hordes of rats. Anyway, so this is another Reggie video.
Elysium 5 is a highly detailed turn-based strategy game developed
that makes
for
you use your brain, your
your
big, stinky cheese brain.
Autists. In fact, I would call it predatory and immoral if it wasn't so good. The objective of the game is to survive in the world's largest open-air prison by killing all of the other inmates.
No, I remember. He's done a video on this before.
This by bashing their head in with a club, digesting them in a cube of acid, or
now, I know I may look like a slime girl that could potentially dissolve you in my body, but absorption kinks aside, yes, I will do that, but not publicly, and I've been told to stop doing that to the succubites of the mansion because we need a workforce. What was I talking about?
Teleporting them to Agartha doesn't really matter. Just get it done so you can escape the eternal hell that is Elysium. For today's video, we will be playing as the voice of El, a faction of religious extremists that use biblically accurate angels to incinerate the non-believers. Against
sounds like the typical zeitgeist of religion to me.
Us is a troll king, witch, barbarian, illusionist, another voice of El, and the guildmaster from our last video. If we can kill each of these godless
team for a D&D campaign.
We win. But before we go any further, I need to tell you something. 6
Raid
years ago,
Shadow
my
Legends.
wife died in a tragic art installation catastrophe. She was trying to hang a piece of modern...
F's in the chat for Reggie's wife. Dude, this is some internet historian levels of editing, I swear.
art, but she accidentally hammered into a high-voltage transformer and exploded. Ever since that day,
tragic, absolute tragic, completely unavoidable.
And I never thought I could trust myself to hang a painting ever again. Until I met the sponsor of today's video,
Displate.
Yeah! Displate offers a stunning range of over 2 million...
You know, I'm actually kind of contemplating getting some displates for my wall. Like, I've got... Hold up, let me... I know this is going to derail the video entirely, but, so I moved into my new house maybe like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. I've been decorating my walls with posters of, like my artwork and stuff. And I got like one up there, but like they're these big old bulky canvases, and legitimately I do love them. I do love my canvases, but methinks maybe something more fit for form would be nice, and I've seen displays advertised everywhere, and they do look really nice. I've seen them in other people's videos. I kind of want to get some. Maybe we'll do a little event soon where I let you guys decide some displays for me to get for my walls to make my office feel more homely. But aside from distracting from the video,
high-quality designs printed directly onto metal canvases. This is all unique licensed art from major brands such as Elden Ring, Warhammer, and Marvel. But if you prefer, they also offer custom designs to allow you to indulge in...
Reggie might be one of the few people, much like Internet Historian, where I watch the advertisements like this for, because they make them funny. There's nothing more dull than a sponsorship section where they just read off a script. If I ever get sponsored for something like this, I am absolutely going to make my advertisement in a similar fashion. Because I need to make sure that they never sponsor me again.
your most personal interests. The best part about Displate is the non-destructive installation process. No power tools required, no holes in the wall, just clean the surface, apply the Displate sticker, apply the magnet, and then hang that bad boy up. Congratulations, you are now a member of High Society.
Woo!
The fact
Yeah,
this
High
is so
Society!
easy allows me to hang my Displates almost
Yeah, I think we're getting some displates at some point.
anywhere. Displate on the wall, displate on a displate, displate in a pile of leaves, and of course, displate in the tub. Now that I
But not forgetting, displate these nuts.
can enjoy refined artwork wherever I go, I have become a more cultured man, and my brain has tripled in size. Doctors are calling it unprecedented and terminal. I'm not sure, but I think that means good. So don't delay. Try
Terminally
Displate
good?
today, and for the holidays, if you use code Reggie, you can get between 33 and 40% off,
Ooh.
depending on the number of displates you purchase. Thank you, Displate. Now back to the video.
I know what
After
I'm
setting
buying
up
after the
lobby,
stream.
we select Voice of L and mentally prepare to kill thousands of people. For this purpose, it is important to give ourselves a very silly name, because then no
Of
one will
course.
take us seriously. Adolf
The only people that will take you less seriously are the people who put TTV in their names in games. TTV, by the way.
Hitler committing a religious genocide is not remembered fondly, but biggest
What-
dickus doing the exact
Fake
same
news.
thing, well, that's just a little horseplay. Now that we have preemptively recontextualized
Horseplay.
our war crimes, we
The
can begin the
gotcha.
game. Loading in, we can see that we've started in a tundra biome, which is already a sufficient reason to kill ourselves, but we push onward. Right now, it's just biggest dickus,
I felt that exponentially when I went to Finland recently to visit Melissa Tiefling. The frost froze my tits off. Also, biggest dickus, good reference, Monty Python reference, Reggie based. We only need incontinentia buttocks and Brian as a name.
Voz, the bishop, and a handful of soldiers. However, as we spread our religion, God will bestow us increasingly powerful units for our holy crusade. So we spend the first few turns conquering nearby villages and forcibly converting their inhabitants. In addition to appeasing our gods, this will provide us with an annual tithe of gold from every religious settlement on the map. Many of the classes in Conquest of
yes.
Elysium are morally
We are, in typical fashion of these like global conquest type games, we always need to remind ourselves the one way of being is that the property of local inhabitants isn't their property, it's our property. Because what better mantra to live by than the one that unifies everyone together under one banner?
ambiguous, but the fact we can create a religious IRS is irrefutable evidence that we are agents of chaos. Personally, I'm fine with that. What I'm not fine with is splitting the money, because the tithe is divided between
not
each
their
voice
money.
of L
My
depending
money.
on their rank within the clergy, and currently the other voice of L player is a cardinal, which means he's getting most of the money. Absolutely unacceptable. He must be killed. But that has to go on the back
That's
burner
called
for
healthy
now, because
competition.
we've just encountered our neighbor to the southeast, the Barbarian. This faction uses savage brutality and shamanic rituals to crush their enemies, so I make sure to avoid them entirely and then steal all of their territory when they're not looking. This tactic actually worked pretty well, and as our theological
Who
influence
would have thought that taking on the typical actions of a incel in real life, going out into the public, actually works out well as a military strategy?
grew, several people came to join our cause. Religious flagellants began appearing in nearby towns. A paladin and his retinue of Templar joined our army, and finally a pilgrim set out to travel the Holy Land. I'm sorry to report he was immediately
but
killed by a
religious
group of
enlightenment,
marauding
surely.
barbarians. The paladin was ripped apart by birds of prey, and shortly after that, the flagellants were slaughtered by a giant octopus.
Reggie, I'm actually a bit disappointed you didn't make a hentai schoolgirl joke in this one. Come on, dude. You got a literal tentacle monster and you're not going to make a schoolgirl reference? Reggie, you kind of fell off, buddy. You kind of fell off. It's okay. It's okay. I'll be the tentacle monster.
Having our followers viciously killed in comically painful ways might seem like bad publicity, but actually it's highly relatable, because everyone unfortunate enough to live in Elysium is currently going through the exact same thing. Now, in order to defeat our barbarian friends, we're going to need one thing: lots of money. Money can do amazing things.
Wow,
Simply
it's almost like money can solve everything.
Streaming website and you'll see just how powerful $50 can be. But don't worry.
Reggie, you can't make these jokes about Nikocado Avocado anymore. He's skinny now. He's still a dick, but he's skinny.
I'm not planning on paying the barbarian to put his ankles behind his head. Instead, we have something else in mind. But first, we have to secure some cash. So I began expanding to the west, seizing several villages and gold mines. This was also where we encountered the witch. Her faction uses powerful swamp magic to kill you in the most disgusting ways possible. So again, we avoid
swamp
her.
magic, so they learned it from the Floridians, clearly.
Several turns of saving up, we've now got a nice chunk of gold, and we use it to promote Biggest Dickus from Archbishop to Cardinal. This does a few things.
I feel like there's going to be a punchline for the names he's used. I feel like it. Biggest Dickus, the biggest.
For us. First, it gives us a bigger share of the tithe. Second, we get higher level holy magic. And third, it now gives us the authority to call religious crusades and holy inquisitions against our enemies. So obviously, we dropped some gold to start a crusade against the barbarians. This summoned a pretty sizable AI-controlled crusader army
never been a bad inquisition.
Apostates. But unfortunately, it's
sorry. I need to do that with the right theming. There has never been a bad inquisition. There has never been a bad inquisition.
On the other side of the map and drove headfirst into a witch's tower that was surrounded by poison
they found your mother.
This resulted in approximately 70% casualties almost immediately. Meanwhile, back home, the barbarians continue to decimate our local population.
Realistically, though, speaking in an educated form, knowing I've watched multiple Reggie videos, anything less than a 90% casualty rate in a Reggie video is considered good statistics.
Truly, God is testing us. Our only saving grace is that the brain-dead Crusader AI that just wasted all of our gold is the exact same AI controlling all of our enemies, which means we shouldn't act surprised when the barbarians run their only commander headfirst into a bunch of...
I talked about StarCraft, by the way. In most of these, like, real-time strategy games, when you're playing solo or, like, against the AI, normally the difficulty isn't against the mechanics of the team you're playing against. It's how competent the AI is. And I gotta be honest, the one real-time strategy that has probably the best AI of any RTS would be StarCraft 2. If you've ever played StarCraft 2 co-op, or you've played against the AI in skirmish modes, you will know this. The AI is scary.
Ogres and die. The loss of this commander resulted in their entire faction being eliminated, which gave us some much-needed breathing room. Taking a peek at the score graph, we can see that we're kind of in the middle of the road.
No, that's bad. You're not at the top.
But not
if you're not at the top, you're not winning.
At least we can take some solace in the fact we're not the Troll King, who appears to have been killed by wild animals somewhere around turn 7. However, if we don't want to be the next to go, we're going to have to take some drastic measures, which leads us to the 7 apocalyptic seals. As a voice of L, we are capable...
yes, the one thing to resort to. Oh no, we're in a slight spot of bother. I guess it's time to resort to Eldritch magic.
Of using religious relics to break these seals one at a time. The more we break, the more powerful units our god will bestow upon us. But each broken seal also brings us closer to an absolutely devastating global apocalypse.
Well, there's 7 seals, which means you only need to break 6 of them.
Call for desperate measures. The other voice of L already broke the first seal,
if you go
so
full
I went ahead
ham.
and cracked the second. In return, angels are now descending from the heavens to join our cause. This should make us a little more competitive against the other factions. Speaking of the other factions, we've just encountered the Guildmaster. This class is incredibly broken, but only when used intelligently. As we've established, that is not something we're going to have to worry about here. In fact, giving this class to the AI is comparable to giving a Corvette to a chimpanzee. Sure, they might figure out how to turn it on, but almost invariably,
you will never not be the running
butt
of the joke.
And die. Given these cognitive deficits, I thought the Guildmaster would be the perfect target for a religious inquisition. So I summoned one in, and it got to work. The Inquisition is probably our best tool, because they go around the map autonomously killing non-believers and converting settlements for free. Puzzlingly, their first target was a giant acid snake, and when he refused to convert to our vaguely defined religion, they lit him on fire and stabbed him to death with lances. I think it's fair to say he lost that debate.
Appropriate. In the world of conquest, there's only one way of abiding by, and that's yours. And if people aren't willing to get in line, well, you either get in line or get left behind in a grave.
After that, the Inquisition traveled to the far west and actually tracked down the Guildmaster himself. After witnessing us cavalry charge his entire front line and slaughter them mercilessly, the Guildmaster suddenly realized the validity of our religion, and he changed sides mid-battle. Following this, the Inquisition sieged down his capital city,
aggressive
and not long
negotiations
after,
to bring people into your way of thinking.
Extinct. We're now down to the final four: us, the other voice of El, the Illusionist, and the Witch. I'll be honest, the Illusionist has done nothing the entire game, but the other two are very dangerous. In fact, the Witch just massacred one of our Crusader armies with a horde of giant snails, carnivorous frogs, and cubes of beef bouillon. This is a dark day in Constantinople.
Slime superiority.
Beyond that, I'm starting to realize that the other voice of El is a doomsday accelerationist, because he already broke 4 seals, and now the horsemen of the apocalypse are starting to appear and slaughter everyone indiscriminately. Our only logical move in this situation
it's always the Zionists you gotta watch out
by
for.
donating 600
those
gold
world-ending
to the church.
bastards. They don't care about no one else except their own yearning for the end. Just because they want to end the world doesn't mean we do.
And whoever is the pontiff collects all of the religious tax money from the entire map. This means that every few turns, we're going to rake in around
You want to know something scary, by the way? Vince McMahon is 70-something years old. And yet, I swear to all the heavens above, that WWE money has stopped his aging. Because this man has not looked any different in 20 years. He is like an OAP. A very wealthy OAP. But if anything, it really shows the power of money preventing aging. That and Botox.
Entire map. This means that every few turns, we're going to rake in around 500 gold, which should give us an edge. However, it also puts a target on our back, because if the other voice of El can assassinate Pope Dickus, then they can steal the position of Pontiff away from us, which means it's time to go into hiding. We need to get the Pope back to the capital and surrounded by bodyguards. However, on our second day of being Pope, we were attacked by the very atmosphere itself, resulting in almost everyone being electrocuted.
Fabric of reality doesn't want you to exist.
We did get the Pope back to the capital, which is relatively safe, but also
Dude, what even
kind
is
of
this
the first
game?
place you'd check if you were trying to assassinate him. So I took an army south and captured the port of Crabville. From here, we purchased some boats and began looking for secluded islands where we could hide out.
Some World of Warcraft-esque naming conventions right there.
We came across a coral fortress inhabited by fishmen. This could be a promising safe house, so I sent a few armies to capture it. But my generals kept falling overboard and drowning. So this took a few
Gosh damn it, this almost seems like divine providence. You start in Holy Crusade, only to then realize the people you put in charge of your army are woefully incompetent at everything other than trying to spread propaganda. Want to stand on a boat? Oopsie spaghettios. Can't do that. Want me to be competent at my job? You're expecting a bit much there. All I'm good at is spitting facts of our religion.
Rise. After seizing it, I realized that it's actually a portal to the elemental plane. Obviously, I wanted to explore that, but it wouldn't let me take our boats, so I had to leave them behind before going through. At which point, surprise, we've been teleported to the middle of the ocean. Everyone is drowning, and whoever is not drowning is being killed by buff, hunky seamen. Thank you, Conquest of Elysium.
Whoa, this game has seamen? I love seamen. Oh. Shit.
Did that. Back to the drawing board.
I hope that doesn't get clipped out of context.
Fiasco, we actually came across a string of promising islands in the south. In fact, this is a game changer, because this island has the entire Capitolium on it. The Capitolium is a 4-tile megacity which is loaded with resources. It's easy to defend and very secluded. Simply put, we're going to need this. I landed an expeditionary force on the island and began re-educating the native population of pygmy tribesmen. Today's lesson, get in the fucking ground. Once that was taken care of, I assessed the Capitolium
What an
armies.
educated
They're pretty
lesson.
Tough, so we're going to have to wait here until
Educational forte, if you
reinforcements
will.
arrive. I decided to pass the turns next to the Colossus of Rhodes, because I thought it was kind of cool, until it came to life and crushed 90% of our army. Every
God.
single turn, Conquest of Elysium
You just get a
finds
feeling
new
like you're
and
not wanted
exciting
there.
ways to flatten our balls like a pancake. And much like a heroin addict, I can't get enough of it. Because while I am upset that one of our armies died, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't soy-facing the entire time. While all of that
Reggie, I swear Reggie looks at DLC for these real-time strategy games like Warhammer Total War and things like this. Like I look at a new drop of Pokemon cards. Like sure, it might be financially irresponsible for me to spend $1,000 on DLC for a game that I'll probably play once, but the serotonin and dopamine it gives me is awfully worth it. Right?
that was going on, the witch was rampaging around the center of the map with her army of perverted swamp monsters. The other voice of hell summoned the horsemen of pestilence and the horsemen of war, and the illusionist was collecting mirrors. Bit of an underwhelming faction, I won't lie. Fortunately, on our end, we've started receiving celestial lions, which are ravaging the non-believers. This put us in a three-way tie with the witch and the other voice of El, but hopefully capturing the Capitolium can put us on top. Arriving there with a new army of Crusaders led by Pope Dickus, we launch our first attack. Our front line of Templar have high armor, which makes them almost invulnerable to projectiles, but the rest of us are not so lucky. Quickly charging down the gates, we begin slaughtering the defenders while the Emperor does his best to aura farm from the ramparts. This backfires catastrophically when Biggest Dickus casts Heavenly Wrath and smites him for 500 damage. Following his death, we won the battle and repossessed his collection of zany magic items. Now we can focus on conquering the other districts. The Slave District was predictably easy. Trade District, not too bad either. But the Temple District, that one sucks, because its garrison is commanded by a cardinal who appears to be high on speed.
Oh
this
God,
guy is
he's
specialized in conversion
reproducing through
magic,
mitosis.
meaning that mid-battle he can cause 10 to 20 of our soldiers to change teams every turn. So to avoid receiving the cardinal's gay conversion therapy, we recruited 2 catapults before attacking. These proceeded to smoke him in the face with boulders, and he died en route to the hospital.
Jeez.
Good riddance.
All I was trying to do was to convert people to our better way of being, and you hit me in the face with a bloody boulder from 400 meters away! That's outrageous, I tells ya!
With that, we have now conquered the entirety of the Capitolium, and our economy is at an all-time high. Also, in unrelated news, Pompelus the Illusionist was found dead in a Papa John's bathroom.
Religionomics.
That leaves just us, the witch, and the other voice of El. Let's take a look at the score graph and see how we're doing. Oh. We're fucked. While we were busy dying to statues, Pink appears to have been conquering the entire map. And furthermore, our god seems to be favoring him, because for the past 25 turns, we have been re-gifted the same 2 celestial lions over and over, while Pink is receiving angelic warriors, archangels, and whatever the hell this is. In the theological chess battle between our 2 factions, we're losing so badly that our opponent just got up from the table and he's now banging our wife. But in any game of chess, the loser always has one option. Flip the table and eat the pieces, which is exactly what we're going to do. You see, Pink has broken...
Sounds like the typical response Magnus has when he's doing his chessboard games. You ever watched a Magnus game of chess? Man, even when... every time that man loses, he gets so worked up, but he still shakes the man's hand.
6 of the 7 holy seals, and he thinks we won't break the last one because it will start the apocalypse. But here's an important lesson, you greedy bastard. Mutually assured destruction only works if I have something to lose. And as a matter of fact, you've taken most of my territory. The way to do it. So good luck everyone else. I open the ceremony screen and break that 7th seal without hesitation.
Oh no. Well, if I'm going down, you're coming with me, mother fluffers!
Forest fires have started all over the map, and a portal to hell has opened in the desert, spewing forth hundreds of disease demons, scorpions, and giant grasshoppers with human faces.
If the apocalypse just spawns all these eldritch monstrosities, that doesn't sound like an apocalypse to me. That just sounds like a target-rich environment for more domination, you know what I'm saying?
At the same time, a portal to heaven has appeared and several angelic armies are rushing into Elysium. Initially, I looked at this and thought, oh good, they're here to kill the demons and take us to the promised land. Clearly, I forgot which game we were playing, because this is less of a battle between good and evil, and more of a spit roast with us in the middle. On top of all of that, at the center of the map, there's a portal to the underworld, where all dead units live as spirits. It was never relevant up to this point because it was guarded by a giant hell dog. But now that the angels killed him, hundreds of ghosts are coming through the portal and attacking us. Last but not least, the fish people from earlier have come through their portal and they're invading us in the north. In conclusion,
oh no, the consequence of our actions
are collaborating to gangbang us out of existence. I know that sounds bad, because it is. But relatively speaking, it's way worse for Pink, since he actually has an empire to lose. Us, on the other hand, we're just hiding out on a secluded island waiting for everyone to die. Speaking of which, there goes the witch.
Rise up from the ashes.
One more faction to eliminate, and then we win. Evidently, Pink was not enthused about our decision to end the world via interdimensional group sex. And he actually sent Sophiel the Archangel to the Capitolium to kill Pope Dickus. In terms of assassination attempts, I found this rather wanting. Sophiel barely even tried, and eventually he was kicked in the head by a horse and died. But as it turned...
Dude, could you imagine that from the perspective of the Archangel? I have come before you to smite you and send you to the afterlife whence you belong. Is that a horse?
Turns out that was all part of his plan, because he was carrying cursed items, and now that we killed him, they've been transferred to Pope Dickus. One in particular is an issue: the balances of famine. These give the plague to whoever is holding them, and since they're cursed, we can't drop them. Meaning, Pope Dickus's days are numbered. This is some CIA-level assassination technique that I hadn't even considered until now. Fortunately, the plague takes a while to kill us, so we can retreat to the capital and start building a doom stack while waiting for everyone else to perish in the apocalypse. Fast forward 20 turns.
Well, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, clearly.
If our metric for success is Pink dying, then we're making progress. But if our metric for success is anything else, we're fucked. Global warming has turned the entire map into a permanent desert, the quality and quantity of demons has tripled.
I mean, I've got to say, for all the memes and all this weirdness of this game, it's really deep. Like, it looks, on the surface, it looks like a goofy, very sparsely made kind of game that looks like it was made in Flash or something, or for Newgrounds. And yet, with the level of complexity to it, it's actually kind of compelling. One of those moments where you don't judge a book by its cover, I suppose.
Abaddon, the Lord of Hell, has begun permanently destroying every settlement in Elysium, meaning our tithe money has started drying up. On the upside, we found a method to keep the Pope alive. He's currently dying from leprosy, but by recruiting half a dozen bishops and spamming healing spells, we're able to heal him faster than his disease can kill him. Don't get me wrong, his flesh is... something. Reggie would probably put in a joke here about some kind of cure for AIDS or something. But I'll do it for him. Still rotting from the bone, but with this method, he's able to cling to life as some kind of living corpse. Now look, I'm going to be honest, the prognosis for Elysium is not good. Every turn there's less resources, more demons, and our public approval is questionable at best. So I think it's about time we leave.
He made one.
We've got 4 options. We could travel to heaven, hell, the underworld, or the elemental plane. The underworld gradually kills you and causes you to go insane, basically syphilis. And the elemental...
basically watching VTubers on Twitch.
Plane is just a virtual form of waterboarding, so those two are off the table. You're probably thinking heaven is a good option, but I checked. It's full of angels that will try to kill you and a strangely high population of pickpockets. That leaves us one final option. Fellas, we're all going to hell. The portal to hell opened in the desert to the west.
Yeah, baby, we're about to yiff in hell. God, that aged me so bad.
So it's time to prepare one final crusade as we stake everything on this daring relocation. I assembled Pope Dickus and his army of Templar, ferried them onto the mainland via boat, and we began carving our way through what's left of Pink's empire. He did try to stop us, but our army was pretty fresh, whereas his spent the last 30 turns getting diabolically molested. So we won pretty easily. For the first time in over 150 turns, we are now slightly above pink on the score
it is
graph.
truly impressive how much effort Reggie will go through. I barely have enough time in the day to even spend enough time to have time for myself. Yet this man can literally have enough time to spend enough time in a game like this for 100 and something turns for a video like this. No wonder Reggie's able to actually make content unlike me.
I can feel myself ascending. The Crusade continues, conquering several cities and desert palaces. At this point, every single tile is occupied by demons, so every move we make is the result of an in-depth calculation regarding whether it's preferable to be stung to death by scorpions or receive every known STD from a gang of bug chasers. Eventually, we made it to the portal with about 200 units. I have no idea what's on the other side of this, but it can't be any worse than the implacable psychic torture that awaits us in Elysium.
Are you sure about that, Reggie? Did you just put your proverbial foot in it? Because I think you did.
We enter the portal and are immediately transported to hell. At first glance, a lot snowier than I expected.
You want to know what? I think this is fine. So long as Pink is suffering more than Reggie is, that's the only defining merit of success.
But other than that, everything looks right. Plenty of demons, devils, and some fallen angels. That's not great, but what is great is the villages. Each one provides us tons of resources. In fact, after some exploring, it's pretty obvious that the...
Well, you know what? We fucked up the overworld. Let's just relocate to another plane of existence and start fresh there.
Economy of hell is at least twice the size of the economy in Elysium. Meaning, if we can conquer this, Pink simply won't have the resources to resist us, and we can finally win the game. Now, I know you're thinking, Reggie, you have an army of painfully average soldiers and an AIDS patient for a commander. You stand no chance against the Lords of Hell. And normally, I would agree, but they actually have medication for that now, and also, the final feature of this class is the blessing system. All of our holy units have the blessed status, which gives them bonus stats, but by performing rituals to God, we can increase the amount of stats provided. How many times can we do this, you may ask? You can do it infinitely.
Yeah!
Which means we can turn our weakest unit into a 40 health Giga Chad with Fire Shield, Magic Resistance, Awe, and a 13-inch monster, at which point nothing will stand in our way. By religion maxing our followers, we were able to capture the majority of hell. The only thing remaining are the 3 infernal citadels, the Tower of Injustice, the City of Sinners, and the Citadel of Geryon. We need these desperately.
This is how you turn a potential fail into an epic win.
But if we want to stand any chance
God, that just made epic win. When's the last time someone used that term?
Back in Elysium, we started building a supplementary force with exactly that. This took forever because despite our recent conquests, we're still in some kind of economic ketosis, where we can barely afford food, let alone complex siege equipment. On the upside, at least we're not Pink. I'm pretty sure his entire economy is being sustained by that single tile of coral reef. Anyway, we take the reinforcements through the desert and link up with the Pope. We're now ready to finish our conquest of hell, until something terrible happens. Our beloved Pope Dickus, the man who led a crusade straight into the jaws of hell, has suddenly succumbed to his disease.
Well, it was only a matter of time.
King. Sensing our weakness, Abaddon, the Lord of Hell, took this opportunity to attack us in the open. I'm not going to lie, I kind of assumed we were going to get steamrolled here, so I just put it on triple speed and waited for the sweet embrace of death. But suddenly, a miracle happened. We actually started winning. It turns out one of our wizards knows geomancy, which is actually very effective against Abaddon. By spamming Earthmeld, they're able to keep him incapacitated. This causes every attack against him to deal bonus damage even if the attack misses. So despite our army being mostly trash, the bonus damage is slowly whittling him down, until finally a random
the Lord of Hell is like,
oh
yes, I will destroy your walls!
The strongest units in existence. If
not
this
against our
in
whimsically
Elysium,
buffed
Abaddon
units,
would
it's not.
actually respawn in hell due to his planar immortality. But since we killed him in hell, he's gone for good. After receiving another batch of reinforcements, our invasion is back on track, and we march for the Tower of Injustice. Loading into the battle, this might look easy, but each of these demons are fairly powerful spellcasters, which is why we brought spellcasters of our own, in the form of 9 catapults. Magic specializations include blunt force trauma and closed casket funerals. Using this, we managed to take...
That almost feels like American propaganda. Well, you know what? If a small boulder doesn't do it, make that boulder bigger. The pure democratic power of brute force.
Out the enemy commander before the battle even started, at which point we stormed the gates and captured the tower at the cost of about 75% of our units. 1 down, 2 to go. We were off to a good start, but before I could celebrate, the forces of hell conspired to ruin my life. This doom stack of fallen angels moved into the portal linking Elysium to hell, and now they're blocking it, which means we no longer have access to outside reinforcements. No more Templar, no bishops,
Dude,
and
actually,
worst of all,
AI
no
using
catapults.
strategy?
Furthermore, efforts to dislodge this blockade have been met with very limited success. On the upside, now that we have a
That's a save scum angle if I ever saw one.
citadel, we can recruit units directly in hell, but the selection is limited and they're very expensive, so it's time to get creative. First, I took Murgles the Bishop and promoted him to Murgles the Pope. Then I took him around every settlement in
new
hell
Pope!
to convert them to our religion.
May Bigus Dickus rest in peace. However, we now have a new pope. Forget about the old one.
Now that they're in theological alignment with us, they're spawning in around 30 flagellants every few turns, which are going straight into our army. Furthermore, the citizens of hell are diligent taxpayers, and we're raking in the money. This is terrific, but we need even more.
What
After
have people in hell
converting
got
every
to
settlement
use
in
money
this
for, huh?
section of
Anyway.
hell, I gave Pope Murgles the Trident of the Sea, and then sent him on a solo mission to swim across the ocean and into a river of lava.
There's an ocean in hell? That doesn't make sense.
Eventually making it to the other side of hell, at which point he starts converting people there too. Personally, I'm not very religious, but if a man swam through a lake of fire just to tell me about his erotic doomsday space opera ideology...
Well, when Reggie said he was going to be creative with it, I guess we really had to believe him. Good lord, this man... The only thing more powerful than Reggie's obscene autistic creativity is... possibly if all of the Lords of Hell banded together, somehow buffed themselves by 17 times, and then were able to somehow dislodge Reggie's complete and utter mental illness.
I'd give him a chance. Unfortunately, the denizens of hell felt the same way, resulting in us grabbing about a half dozen more towns. Now that the tithe money is flowing, we can finally afford some units at the Citadel of Injustice. This brings us to phase 2 of recruitment. They say, when in Rome, do as the Romans, and when in hell, cook people alive in a giant oven. You see, the forces of hell are quite finite, and the only way they can replenish their ranks is by capturing humans and turning them into demons by baking them alive in a giant oven. I assure you, this is not hyperbole. In fact, I decided to try it myself, so I picked up a batch of sinners, took them to the nearest oven, set it to broil, and stuffed them inside. To my surprise, it actually worked. We've now got ourselves a supply of mid-level demons. Between the free flagellants and
if you can't
cheap
beat them,
demons,
join them, I
the army
guess.
is shaping up nicely for the next siege. The final missing
Thank you,
ingredient
Grimes.
is the Bloodsworn. These are heavy
inflate my
infantry
ego
which have
more.
the regeneration ability that allows them to heal mid-battle. Very strong on its own. But when we combine this with Pope Murgle's ability to bless the entire army with free stats, the Bloodsworn become incredibly overpowered. So after spending 30 turns...
I mean, let's face it, if anyone's gonna find a way to abuse a mechanic or find a way to obscenely make their characters obscenely strong by the use of literal eldritch witchcraft, it's gonna be Reggie. Because really, the biggest limitation in a game like this is your own limitations of your creativity. If there's a mechanic that allows you to become an absolute omniscient god, then why not use it? Yeah, sure, the ethical ramifications and everything else might be questionable. But in a world where ethics are more of a suggestion than anything, does it really matter? No, I don't think so. And I will throw anyone in the hellfire who thinks otherwise.
Recruiting, I assemble all of our commanders outside the next target. Our combined forces total 550, with over 300 flagellants and 180 bloodsworn infantry. It's now time to attack the Citadel of Sin. The battle begins with an opening volley from the catapults, followed by the charge of the flagellants, where 300 psychotic men with...
You know, after a Taco Bell, I'm pretty flagellant myself. I'm sorry, that joke was terrible. Ah! Why does anyone even watch me?
Whips and chains rush the walls, tear down the gates, and start ripping apart the demons one by one. Unfortunately, our enemies have very strong magic, and we lose about 20 flagellants for every one demon we kill. I know that sounds bad, but religion demands sacrifice, and you can either do it here on the battlefield, or...
Literally the Farquad meme. Some of you may die, but that is a sacrifice I am willing to make.
You can do it over there in the oven. I know which one I'd pick. Once our Bloodsworn made it to the front, we were able to gradually whittle down the defenders until there was nothing left. Discord HQ has been secured. Now it's on to the Citadel of Garion to complete the trifecta of evil. While this castle doesn't have a huge garrison, it does have 227 health Garion the Monster of Fraud. According to a Wikipedia page edited by reliable sources, Garion was a fearsome giant with either one body and 3 heads, or more unsettlingly, 1 head and 3 bodies. This makes more sense when you
literally just sounds like the shit that AI-generated artwork comes out with half the time.
analyze his family tree and realize that at some point, someone had sex with a horse.
I want to fuck a horse.
Thankfully, our Crusaders don't have...
I mean, look, we all know that funny anime horse game exists, the that game. You know the one I'm talking about? Yeah, the level of horse fuckery over the last year has correlatively gone up exponentially. No particular reason.
to worry about that. Instead,
Oh,
we have to
Makari,
worry
you're fine.
about his level 3 command magic, because this Garion is a master of manipulation. We go ahead and attack his citadel. He starts the battle by casting Mass Confusion, and despite our magic resistance, this affects 70% of our army. When confused, units typically wander around aimlessly and sometimes beat themselves to death. A very compelling opening move. The battle proceeds with Garion using sleep.
Sounds like me when I wake up without my ADHD meds. Makari attacked herself in confusion. Blah, 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 blah.
Confusion and charm spells to delay us, while his ice devils cast map-wide blizzards to chunk our entire army. Thankfully, our Bloodsworn are regenerating, but everyone else, not so much. Once we make it to the gates, I realize they're actually electrified, and about 200 people die in the process of breaking them. At this point, I was pretty sure we were going to lose.
Just go again!
Until our old
Lock
wizard had
in!
some kind
Dial
of
in!
flashback
Focus
to
up!
Iwo Jima, because for the next 20 turns, he became a human flamethrower. This helped our Bloodsworn close the gap, and after 30 rounds of combat, one of our soldiers stabbed Garion in the head for 40 damage, killing him on the spot.
Yeah!
Well, there it is. This all started with Satan performing a home invasion on us in Elysium. But like a deranged sociopath, we hid under the floorboards, stalked him until we found his house, and then performed a counter home invasion. Now, after killing all of his friends, we're sitting on his couch watching TV, and it feels good. But one final problem remains. The
Pink?
last remaining player, Pink. You may be
Yeah.
wondering how he even survived this long in the first place, and the answer is the same way we did. While we held out on Capitolium Island, Pink weathered the storm to the east on Crab Island. This was possible
Oh.
because his settlements continually spawned angelic creatures to defend him. All of these units have flying, which means in theory they could easily leave the island, wander into a bunch of scorpions, and die. But they also have leadership, which means they like to add random units they find into their army, and once they add flagellants in, the army can no longer fly, meaning it's permanently stuck on the
Oopsie.
island. So the only thing left for it to do is spend 300 turns wandering around, collecting more units and killing things. This phenomena resulted in both us and Pink accumulating absolutely massive doom.
Oh. So, like, something something Lord of the Rings, something something Five Armies, something something Epic Final Showdown?
Stacks that have defended our
But
islands
did they conquer
for the past
hell? I don't
500
think so.
turns. Now that we've rebuilt our economy in hell, it's time to go to Crab Island, crush Pink's last army, and finish this once and for all. We begin recruitment of an invasion force immediately, and after securing a navy, we set sail for Crab Island, until we got ambushed by a disease devil who used decay to decompose our boats and drown half the army in about 7 seconds. Absolutely
Oopsie.
devastating. After receiving reinforcements from the capital, we
know
landed
it's going
on
well
Crab
when you
Island
can't even get
with
to the
a force
island.
of 400 of the finest hobos and bums I could afford to hire. Most of these units aren't holy, but thanks to the Bless Army ability, we can effectively baptize 400 people at once, giving them a massive stat boost. Now that we're here, there's just two targets, the guard tower in the south and the city to the north. We start with the tower since it's less
Sand
defended,
grab
and
peers. Sounds like somebody's weird porn name.
no time slaughtering the 200 defenders. The only hiccup was the fact they had a paladin with level 3 magic, which he used to make himself invulnerable to all physical damage. This resulted in him almost killing our entire army before one of the wizards came up and smoked him in the face with a fireball. That, in a nutshell, is why this apocalypse happened in the first place. Pink got paladins with level 3 magic, and we got paladins with level 3 brain damage.
Your abuse of magic and witchcraft has been noted. You are a swine and a hoodlum, and you refuse to accept the consequence of your actions. And therefore, I will be your judicial executioner for such transgressions.
The injustice was
That
simply
sounds like
too
words.
much.
Yep, that
After
sounds like words.
grabbing
We'll
some
go with
more
that.
soldiers, we head out to take Pink's final city, but he intercepts us in transit with an absolutely massive army of celestial lions and flagellants. The final battle for religious supremacy begins now. A rampage of 30 lions barrels down on our front line. We are but wheat before the scythe, and they cut us down. However, that's part of the plan, because all of our units are blessed with level 2 fire shields, which returns damage to their attackers. So by jamming hundreds of men into the meat grinder that is Pink's army, we gradually managed to break it.
One
now
final
it's up to our
battle! Do it
backline
for the
of
cause!
casters to clear out the hundreds of enemy flagellants rushing toward us. Thanks to the generous application of level 3 pyromancy, we managed to accomplish this task, barely eking out a victory against the odds. After clearing out his final city to the north, we check the score graphs. Pink is no longer a thriving empire, but rather a corpse pretending to breathe. And after kicking him a few more times, he does the honorable thing and gives up. Now finally,
Not good enough.
after
Murder
surviving
him.
the apocalypse, conquering hell, and achieving religious supremacy, we have won the game. As we scroll out and marvel at the truly disgusting state of Elysium, I am reminded that our kingdom is not of this world. It's hell. We live in hell, and I like it that way. For what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose?
The planet may have been covered in scorched earth and may be uninhabitable, and you may be the last bastion of humanity, but it was worth the endeavor, for you are now the ruler of all.
His soul in the process. That is the fate we have saved Pink from by killing him, which in the end makes us not only winners, but also
You may have
morally
won,
superior.
but at what
Thanks
cost?
for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Yo, what a video! An amazing demonstration of mental illness by Reggie, as we always know and love. So what's the takeaway from this video? Flagellants bad?